There we are. Yes. Oh man, look at my biceps. Oh, they look so big on the screen.
It's from working out all the time.
Yeah.
Mine was just stationary, no working
and
out.
he's still bigger than me. Whatever.
Yes.
I don't fucking care.
Yes is the answer to that.
I'm trying, goddammit.
I just typed that in. I'm trying. Damn.
Oh, Scott's comment. Yeah.
I still have no video, but at least I have the chat working, so that's fine.
If you need to see the video, you can just.
I don't. In fact, it's better that it's not there.
Yeah.
If I could maintain that standard, that'd be awesome. But it won't.
All right. Oh, I gotta get the day in Star Wars ready. Days in Star Wars ready, I should say. We got 2, and then we're gonna have to have that discussion about that. Anything else before we start?
Nope. Let's get on the air.
All right.
Let's do it live.
Since we're running a tad behind, won't name any names as to why we're running behind, but
Yes, you can.
you know. All right. What are you looking at?
Which ones you have?
What are we talking about? Black Series?
No, the guys up there.
Oh,
guys and gals.
I am missing a few. The Disney Infinities.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, broadcast is already starting. Audio's already recording. All right, fuck it. Reactor. Shit.
What are you doing?
I minimized the fucking. There it is. I hate Macs. All right. So your toast. Let me write down the start time. 7:05, 19:05. 19:05. Start the clock.
Me.
Lion face. Ah, lemon face. All right. Ready?
Yep.
All right. 30 seconds of silence starting now.
To living in the northeastern United States.
To the northeastern United States. All right, you're going to have to be a little more specific with your toast here.
So, but not really. So, Chicago area and Great Lakes notwithstanding, right? Because this is kind of going to be NA for that. But being stationed at McGuire, right? We know a lot of people that come from other parts of the country to come be stationed at McGuire. And generally speaking, because McGuire's out in the middle of nowhere, it's not the best base to be located
and most of the time it's against their will.
Yeah, most of the time. Especially like now that I'm sitting over on the other side of the base and hear people talking about it. A lot of people live in Philadelphia because they like being in the city and stuff, and they'll put up with the commute.
Okay.
It's about my commute, just plus maybe 5-10 minutes.
Sure.
So the reason this popped in my head so quickly was my dad's in the hospital right now. And it makes me think about it looks good. He should come home tomorrow. Thank God.
Okay. That's good.
But one of the reasons that I say this, there's somebody in my office that has a kid who has a very unique issue medically and they were supposed to get stationed at McConnell. And one of the things was like going to McConnell, they're not going to have the standard of care out there than they would here in the northeastern United States because access to so many hospitals and so many specialists and everything else. And it really kind of hit home, like with my dad being in the hospital, is that we are so fortunate to have some of the best hospitals in the world within an hour plane ride of us, if it really came down to that, or a few hours drive.
I mean,
not to mention the 15 minutes from here.
Yeah, because we've got some really good hospitals right here, and I can speak to that firsthand.
Yeah. CHOP, Children's Hospital of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's a big one.
UPenn is here, where I see a lot of doctors over there for my stuff. and it's so close. And I've been around this area most of my life, and I didn't start appreciating how lucky we were in that aspect until I heard other people regale about not having that. You know, being in a relatively isolated area where they have, you know, not that their hospital systems are bad, but they don't have access to specialists. Sometimes they have to fly, you know, thousands of miles to get to somebody who can see a specialty.
Yeah, which is like unfathomable. For us.
Yeah, I think you said right the first time. Say it again.
Unfathomable.
Slower. Enunciate.
Unfathomable.
We'll work on it later. But it's just, you know, it fucking, the cold sucks. Taxes in New Jersey suck.
Yes. I agree with everything so far. Yes.
The summers can get kind of unbearable, but I'm a hot weather guy, especially lately. I've been super cold sensitive, and this is not the time of year to be fucking cold sensitive.
I think it's come with age, honestly, because as I've gotten older, it's like, fuck this cold bullshit.
Yeah, and that's why so many people move down to Florida and get the fuck away from it. And I know it; they are the smartest people on earth.
Yeah,
but you know, and I know our Michigan folks and those people out in the Midwest just endured a hellish fucking, you know, week, and I'm sure they're getting part of this shit too.
Oh yeah, and their
system in,
and they're probably saying "fuck you, cry me a river, dickface."
Well, listen, we all have our druthers, and we just happen. Your taxes are better than ours. We'll put it that way. But anyway, it really sometimes you just have to call yourself lucky. You know, as we're shivering our asses off out in the fucking cold. And I get in a car and I go and see one of the best doctors in the planet who's doing studies on what a particular issue are, and they're the head person. They're writing writing the book, as it were. And you know, sometimes you just have to appreciate that standard of care.
Yeah, and you know, like I said, we were talking about CHOP. One of my kids had to see like a brain surgeon over there, and come to find out, he was like the top child's brain surgeon in the country. He's got like you know, all kinds of YouTube videos dedicated to him. Like he's got all kinds of medical journals written about him and all this stuff. And you know, my son had to get surgery from this guy. So
we're really lucky in being so close to Philly in that regard, because Children's Hospital I think it's Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. I think I said Pennsylvania earlier, but the CHOP is what we call it, and it is one of the best pediatric hospitals in the world, and people are flown in constantly to go and see doctors from CHOP, and they've actually branched out a little bit into some more systems and are more involved in things. But anyway, that's why for the toast.
All right, I can appreciate that. So that being said, hello everyone, and welcome back to All Things Star Wars, the greatest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. I'm Mr. Jason Roscoe. With me here each and every single week, the Darth Zana to my Darth Bane, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Bane.
How are you?
You have the bald head.
I do. See, it kind of works, but apparently this guy is like super tall, super muscular. I'm working on the muscular part, but I don't think the tall thing is ever going to happen.
I should start picking up weights and putting them down again.
You should. Like, you've got the build for it, like in the totally hetero way. You know, you've got the frame for it. So
I used to be built.
Yeah.
Then I got fat, and now I'm retired. I don't fucking feel like it.
Yes, I don't fucking care. Whatever. Yeah. So yeah. So what are we talking about this week?
We are talking about this guy, Darth Bane Rule of Two, the second book in the Bane trilogy.
Yes, we're finally getting back to the Darth Bane books. God, I can't remember when we did the first fucking Bane book.
I can't either.
Was it before I went to Mississippi? I think it was.
We're going to go with yes, because I don't know the answer to that. And I'm sure we'll get corrected, you know, later in the chat.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was, though. So finally, we're getting back to the Darth Bane series. And God, man, it's such a good book. Spoiler alert. But yeah, it's really fucking good. But we got a few things to take care of before then. So this is episode 92. So the countdown to episode 100 is full on. We are 8 weeks-ish away from episode 100.
Depending on how you're counting.
Yeah.
I know I think there was a post in the cantina at about 7 weeks out or something like that. I'm like, if we're 8 and then, but that's little like, so we're
going to have to fudge some numbers.
We're doing something with space and the time continuum. Don't worry about it. It's technical stuff. Lots of Empire stuff.
Yeah, lots of Empire stuff. But it'll be, you know, seamless to all of you audio listeners for sure. YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. you're doing it live.
Yeah. So fuck it. But yeah, and the refugee caravan is on their way. They're still heading out to Jersey, trying to escape the bitter cold winters of the.
Well, they'd probably be doing well if they were allowed to use their Iditarod dogs, but apparently PETA is trying to shut that down.
Fucking PETA.
It's inhumane treatment of these animals. They need to do away with the Iditarod. Fuck off. Fuck off, PETA. You know what my favorite quote out of survival school was?
What?
That it was during I think it was during the water survival academics. And they're talking about, if you're out in the Arctic or some shit like that. And the guy said, look, if you really want to get home fast, go find a baby seal and club it to death. And then PETA will be right there on top of you. So that's, fuck PETA. Fuck. There's some shit just exists and you don't have to be such fuckheads about it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
I'm just waiting for them to go after the lions in Africa for killing all of those, innocent gazelle and all that.
Or the tigers. You know how many people die in India from fucking tigers? Tigers should be eliminated. There's a great Joe Rogan skit or sketch that he does where he's doing this whole bit about the tigers in India and how this tiger jumped. There was 5 dudes out in a boat. And this tiger fucking jumped in the water, swam out to the fucking boat.
Jesus Christ.
Grabbed a dude out of the fucking boat, swam back to the fucking shore to fucking kill him, put him down, then went back out to the boat, got 2 more dudes.
Holy fuck.
Tigers can fucking swim. And the whole bit started with, I guess in San Francisco, must have been years ago, San Francisco, a tiger jumped, kids were throwing pine cones at a tiger or some shit. And the tiger jumped out of its cage, no lid on his fucking cage. Tiger jumps out, chases down the kids that were fucking throwing pine cones out of it, and kills them. Obviously, like you do. Go ahead and don't. Lesson number 1: don't fucking throw pine cones at tigers.
Yeah. Lesson number 2: don't let your kids grow up to be fucking morons. So
yeah. Well, it is at that point. It is natural selection.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, but. Anyway, so tigers are a huge problem. And he also made a comment. It was if tigers showed up from outer space, there would be aliens and we would kill them immediately because they're just fucking killing people left and right. No, yeah. I don't know how we got started on that.
Yeah, that's the refugee caravan. They're on their way. So one more thing I want to mention about that.
I don't know. My brain is firing maybe on 3 or 4 fucking synapses right now.
All right. Well, this question was brought up in the chat before you got here, and I thought it was worth bringing up because I don't know your answer to this.
Okay.
And the question is simple: Pats or Genos?
Neither.
What?
Neither.
Wow. Well, my vote was for Pats, but I want to hear your explanation.
So I've had both, obviously. I mean, I was born in Philly.
Yeah.
Anybody who's born and lived in Philadelphia, for any stretch of time, will tell you that Pats and Genos, while iconic for the cheesesteak, as it were, it's not as good. There are literally a dozen places in Philly that are better than Pats and Genos.
Interesting.
And one of those places is in the RTM, the Reading Terminal Market.
Oh, is that the place that's right next to the Cajun place? Because there's a really good cheesesteak place in there. It's right beside the Cajun place at the Reading Terminal Market.
Yeah, it's right across the way. It's the one I can't even think of the name of the place.
I don't remember the name of the place, but
I know where it is. I walk right to it.
Yeah.
And because it's got this big Obama picture. I guess Obama had come in there to get a steak from there.
Oh.
Their pulled pork sandwich is really what it's known for. But yeah, that's just one place. There's a place when I was growing up. My dad worked when he worked for the government. He worked in Philly on 2nd and Chestnut. So the next block over, there was a place called Larry's that I think it was Larry's. I don't know. It's one of those places where, like many things, I know the way to it. I recognize the building. Don't remember the name. I'm fucking terrible with names, by the by. Thank God for the people that are showing up in a caravan. I've seen their faces with Facebook and everything, because otherwise be like, who are you again?
Yeah. You've
got to be Big Lovin'. Anyway, there was a place. So my dad would be working and he'd hand me he'd hand me like $15. And again, this is in like the late 80s, early 90s, right? And 80s. And he'd send me over there and we get 2 cheesesteaks for like $12. And those motherfuckers, Now, granted, it's to scale, right? So I was little. Like these cheesesteaks seemed like they were this fucking long. They were probably just 16-inch steaks, but regardless, they were the best. And I'll tell you what makes it the best. I'll tell you right now, the standard that's established. I mean, seasoning the meat, how long, how old the grill is, shit like that plays in a lot. How good the steak is. It's the bread. Right. It's absolutely the bread, because the bread you get around this area, it's just like getting bagels from up in New York with the way the water is and like all these dynamics that go into making that bread is what makes it so good. And that's when like people that go to Primo Hoagies and they're eating this fucking hard ass bread and they're like, oh, these are really good. I'm like, no, they have a lot of meat on them. So, and yeah, their meat products are good, but that roll fucking sucks. Yeah. I hate that roll. It's just, anyway, I am a cheesesteak snob.
All right.
I'm a cheesesteak snob.
Well, the refugees want to go and get some Philly cheesesteaks when they get here. So,
we can absolutely do that.
So we'll have to figure out the best place to go.
Look, if they're coming in from town, they may never get to Philadelphia again. We should totally go to Pasagino's just because for the experience.
Sure.
Even if we don't eat there, they can go. And if they want to go in there and order with or without, do whatever they want to do. Yeah. That's fine. If they like chicken cheesesteaks, we can go to Tony Luke's underneath the Walt Whitman Bridge. That's the original place. That's a good place. We could definitely go into RTM and they can get all kinds of shit in there.
We have to spend like at least one meal there. Just like go in and just be like, look at all this.
Yeah, all this.
Choose.
Yeah.
So
that's
anyway, but we digress. So
as we do.
Let's get back into a little bit of Star Wars for just a minute. And we've got a couple of days in Star Wars and then a little discussion that's going to go along with it. First of all is February 10th, and that's 2012. So do you remember what this is?
I might be cheating because I might have looked at it. It's like the Clone Wars thing.
No, it's the Episode 1 Phantom Menace 3D hits theaters.
Oh!
And I specifically bring that up because one of the two of us actually saw the Phantom Menace in 3D.
That would be me. Yes. I saw it.
So I know you've like briefly touched on this here and there on the podcast. I mean, anything specifically that you want to mention about that 3D experience since we're talking about it?
I think I did mention in the podcast before, the best thing for me was the fact that my kids got to see it in the theater and like a release like that, because there was some hype built into it. Sure. And I was just happy to get Jeff and Kate into the theater to see a Star Wars movie.
Right.
Because at the time, Kate was just born when Phantom Menace originally came out. She was born in 99 and Jeff would have been 3 years old. So we weren't going to the theater to see movies at that point. We weren't going out to restaurants with kids at that point.
Yeah, you don't do much when you have young kids in the house that age.
Especially since we lived on base and it was a fucking trek just to do anything, especially go see a fucking movie. So
been there.
So it really was this was their first real, they can appreciate and remember it movie theater experience. Yeah. And the 3D was not... They didn't do like there was a couple of goofy things that they tried to do, like make it 3D. Fact is, with Jeff and Kate, we just had a conversation today about it. Like we're just talking about something in Disney with the 3D. So it was very unremarkable. It was the Phantom Menace. It was in the theater, and the theater experience is something to be to marvel at. I mean, we could make a whole topic on like actually how much the theater experience means to Star Wars, because I know Bob Iger's made the comments of that, and we've probably touched on it a little bit before.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've talked about our own experiences, seeing the original trilogy, or even seeing like the special editions in theaters. So yeah, it's a different experience seeing a Star Wars movie in theaters, even one that's like the Phantom Menace. But it's especially when you get on those opening weekends, like when we went and saw Last Jedi or Force Awakens. There's an atmosphere there. And the people are there because they want to be there and they're excited to be there. And it's just great being around crowds like that. And,
oh God. Yeah. Because it's the energy. It's such a positive energy. It's an experience. Yeah. And let's face it, Star Wars is built around the cinematic experience. So
for sure.
So that movie in particular, yes, you were going and getting a cinematic experience. You were seeing the Phantom Menace, and it wasn't any better in 3D. I don't think it was just in 3D.
And what's weird is that was supposed to be the start of this whole series of 3D
Yes.
re-releases for
Yes.
all of the movies. And because I remember back when we were, you know, in our early days in the old Squadron, you would talk about this a lot, and you'd have the dates in your phone.
I still have the dates on my phone. I'm bringing them up right now.
When each 3D movie was supposed to come out, but this happened right around the time of the buyout, and they just kind of like, you know, went hands up and like, nah, this isn't happening after all. So
what's funny is into my notes in on the iPhone, I typed in Star Wars. 35 found in just this account. Apparently I put a lot of Star Wars shit in here. When did I do that? What's the next day while I'm looking this up?
So while you're looking it up, the next one is February 12th, and that's February 12th, 1978. And this is kind of where things all start to loop back around, because it's Del Rey publishes the first expanded universe novel, Splinter of the Mind's Eye. And
yeah, that was...
Well, and the reason I bring this up is because this is about the point where these days in Star Wars are starting to loop around, because it was about a year ago right now where Dave's amazing wife, Kathy, came up with the idea for doing a day in Star Wars based off of this day in Star Wars on the Star Wars app. And we've officially looped around, because I remember doing Splinter of the Mind's Eye last year. So now we may have to come up with a new weekly bit to replace the day in Star Wars, because honestly,
we're going to start repeating things for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the Star Wars app is not going to there's no new history that you're going to come up with unless you really start fucking digging.
Yeah. And like some of the stuff, like something from last week was the fucking dude who played Lobot was born. I'm like, oh God, we're really we're reaching on this one. So if any listeners out there have an idea for a new weekly bit that will replace the day in Star Wars, please let us know.
You know, this just goes to show, this is a total sidebar, by the way. It just goes to show. So I have notes in here from 2011.
Damn.
Like on my phone. Like I've had an iPhone for a long time.
Yeah.
And like one of them, were you in Uganda with me?
I don't think I ever went to Uganda.
That story is only relevant if you were there.
Okay. So that's the case with a lot of stories from our flying days.
Yeah.
It's like you had to be there.
You had to be there. Like we can all appreciate the story, but unless you were actually there, then it's really tough to.
We were
somebody's social in here.
Me and a guy that I work with now who used to also fly with us. We're just telling stories today about the time that our old friend Stephanie slapped the shit out of me. We were really drunk, in my defense. We were really drunk.
I wasn't there, but it was a good story.
And I kind of egged her on. But yeah, just stories like that never get old. And that was in like 2011, 2012.
This is when Jason started to come out of his shell in a unit a little bit. Because he was very isolated for a while.
Yeah, and then they like forced me to start drinking with them, and then it just all went downhill from there. So all right, so we don't actually have to talk about Splinter of the Mind's Eye because we talked about it last year. But yeah, this is the point where this bit has pretty much run its course. So
what's next? Do you have thoughts?
I have no thoughts right now, so I'm hoping somebody else gives us an idea because I'm stumped.
Listeners, it's your job as I stare at my phone.
Yeah, and an easy weekly bit that we can do. Yeah. So you have your mission
for at least 52 episodes.
Yeah. So are you still looking for the?
Yeah, I am. I can't fucking find
it. Then maybe we should.
It's in there somewhere. On. Here's the one bad thing about this whole note deal. I could put Star Wars in there, and it'll show me 35 things, right?
Yeah.
There's probably 150 things that are actually in my phone that say Star Wars,
right?
But I don't know what logarithm it's running, but it picks and chooses which one to come up. It's very fucking odd because I'll scroll to something that it didn't pick up, and I know it says it right here, and it doesn't do it. So it's not a perfect system.
That's what I'm starting to hate about like social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Before I canceled mine, it's the fact that they started going to these algorithms that basically do stuff that they feel is more relevant to you at the top of your feed now, as opposed to the most recent thing that was posted.
I think you can adjust that though. I think you can adjust that to make sure like who you want to see or whatever.
Yeah, I think it depends, but I hate it. Don't fucking tell me what I want to see. God damn it. I know what I want to see.
Don't tell Jason what he wants to see.
That's right.
It puts the lotion on. Wait, what?
All right. So as far as Star Wars news goes, Not much this week. It's been fucking quiet, and I think that's intentional. Like all of this silence from Lucasfilm, it's got to be building up to Celebration at this point, because now we're getting close to Celebration. We're about 2 months away, and I
April,
think
right?
Yeah, April, because it's about the time that I'm going to California for my Disneyland vacation, and the refugee caravan will leave New Jersey, go back home, and then go to Celebration a few weeks later.
We'll have insiders
Yes.
at Celebration.
Oh yeah, we got to make sure we give them a bunch of cards, T-shirts, all the goodies. But
a T-shirt cannon. I'm sure they'll be allowed to bring a T-shirt cannon in there.
Yes, right? And then just shoot people right in the face. Boom.
Yeah, and video it. You have to video it.
Listen,
otherwise, it's not worth
podcast.
it. Otherwise...
But yeah, I have a feeling...
What's your name? My name is Tom Jensen. Oh, there he is.
Yeah. But no, honestly, I feel at this point it's going to be Celebration is when we see trailers, any footage and all that. It has to be Celebration at this point.
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
I think
it's so inconsistent with what Star Wars has done over the years.
Well, you know what it is? I honestly think that they're just behind in production, because they were supposed to start filming last January of 18, and that slipped to like summer. Like they didn't start filming until like May or June.
Well, didn't some of that slip because of Carrie Fisher's death?
No, she died a year and a half before that.
I feel like she just died. I'm so fucking lost in the time-space continuum.
No, but they started production late, and I think that's what's kind of driving all of this, is just the fact that they're a little bit behind, because as we talked about last episode, people are still having their last day filming on set. Like over the last week, it was the BB-8 guy, the guy who's like the fucking puppeteer for BB-8. He just posted on Instagram or something that it was his last day of filming, like within the last week.
Well,
so
isn't there multiple puppeteers for that?
I don't fucking know. That's beside the point. That's
well, I mean, it's Star Wars relevant though.
Yeah, but I mean,
all the things to sidetrack you with, at least it's Star Wars relevant.
Well, that is true.
Get this shit off the top of this. I want to see something.
What are we talking about?
Off of this.
This is so unprofessional.
Oh God, when the fuck have we ever been professional?
Oh, never.
I mean, that is one thing that we're never accused of. I've been accused of not saying the word fuck enough on this podcast.
And I think the absence of alcohol has really affected the amount of profanities that get thrown around on the show.
You know what? That's probably not true.
You don't think so?
I think my use of the word fuck has actually gotten probably more prolific.
All right, for me, I think so. I think
well, you're a bigwig over there now, so it's like, what fucking size is this? Oh, we do have a 2XL. Yes. Peter Mayhew, I think we got a fucking t-shirt for you. Yeah.
Do you know Peter Mayhew?
No, I don't fucking know Peter Mayhew, but he could be watching or listening.
Yeah.
And we're giving him a heads
up.
We're sending people to find you and give you a t-shirt.
At Celebration, yeah. So
don't be afraid. They're okay guys. We think we'll know more in March.
Yeah. I mean, if they're serial killers, they'll kill us first.
Yeah, we got a couple of 2XLs.
Nice.
We haven't pulled these out of the box in like I don't know, like
a year,
fucking year at least.
Yeah.
I just happen to be wearing this shirt, so that's what made me think about it.
Yeah. So is this the rest of the episode? Is this just going to be me watching you go through these shirts and look at the sizes?
Hey man,
that's the podcast. So this is the Dave looks at shirts episode.
Well, wait till you get to my week in Star Wars.
Oh God,
there's a large. All right.
All right. So anyway, the whole point is it's been very quiet lately, and at this point, I think we're not going to get anything until Celebration.
Is that
until
what we were
April.
talking about?
Yes, that's what I was trying to talk about.
Put that back.
Don't tell me what to do.
But you did it.
Anyway, so that's that. Not much else in the way of news. One funny thing that came out was Bob Iger was having another interview with fucking Famous White People magazine or whatever. And
that's a good one. Is this all the Diet Cokes we have?
Yeah, sorry. I drank one and I gave you 2. And then you've got the rest of your 2-liter, which has been gone back and forth between a block of ice and not a block of ice over the last couple of weeks.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, do it live. So anyway, And Bob Iger was specifically asked about the EA Star Wars video game license. And people are like, what do you think about all the backlash against EA, Battlefront 2, canceled video game, blah, blah, blah. He's like, no, we're good with our partnership with EA. And he basically came out and said, as a company, Disney has never been good at making video games, that they've had video game studios in the past and they've never been successful. So he's like, I'm more than happy just fucking licensing this out to EA, let them do their thing, we'll collect our money. And
does this feel like a kiss of death? So from a sports standpoint, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got a lot of sports listeners and you know, people that follow us on YouTube and whatever.
And I was going to bring up one sports thing later. So
if say you're talking about like in football, a coach is like, no, we're totally with this guy. You know, he's a huge part of our team. He's a huge leader in the locker room. You know, random football comment insert here.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, he's fucking traded, like, or they cut him or some shit like that. It's like, to me, this seems like the kiss of death for EA. Yeah. It's like, we're going to show you public support so that it doesn't look like we're trashing you. But oh, by the way, we're going to go to another Disney by saying, okay, insert over analysis here, because I saw this in the notes and it made me think of this.
Yeah.
A, I think it's a kiss of death for EA.
Interesting.
B, I think it's by saying that they're not good at doing video games and are perfectly willing to give it to somebody else. Somebody else already has it.
Oh, you think they're negotiating behind EA's
they
back
have
right
to
now?
Be. It doesn't even have to be behind EA's back. EA knows they produced a shit product.
Yeah.
All right, there are elements to BF2 that are enjoyable and playable, and there's tons of people playing it and everything else, right? But the overall product it's seen as a negative.
Yeah.
Right. At least from the two guys sitting here that have microphones and a listening audience. So maybe.
Yeah.
But at least we know a handful of people are listening anyway. Why is this fucking link not working? Oh yes, open. Anyway. No, this is the Dave argues with his iPad episode of Fuck This Podcast.
Well, I'm entertained. Hopefully everybody else is too.
This thing is acting like I never opened Chrome before. Go fuck yourself. I don't know what's happening. All right, I was silent. I was silent because that way you could cut this part out.
Well, I won't be cutting it out. Yeah, truncate silence will get that. So
yeah, sorry, YouTube audience. That was deliberate. I really fucking frustrated with this thing. But anyway, like it, you know, if they say, you know, specifically that if you use words like, look, EA is our company, and you have to pimp up all these words for the company. It's either for the stockholders' benefits, so they don't like fear that something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Or you're like, hey, these are our guys. No. Or you say like, we don't want to deal with making video games. We're perfectly willing to give it to somebody else. And not using EA specifically or hammering into EA. Like, I didn't listen to the whole fucking video or the whole interview. I don't have a transcript of it. This is in the fucking Zapruder film that we're breaking down here.
Yeah.
But
back and to the left.
Yeah. Back to the left. God, I saw that movie way too young.
Did you?
I think. I forget. I don't know when JFK came out, that movie.
I want to say we were like freshmen or sophomores in high school.
Really?
Yeah. When that came out.
Perhaps. But yeah, there was elements to that I just felt like, man, I'm getting uncomfortable about this. Like the 15 times.
Yeah, like
you see it in a fucking movie.
Brains getting splattered.
Yeah.
All
because
over
when
Jackie,
I was standing there in fucking Dallas, you know, at the window adjacent to the window.
Yeah.
Because they don't let you actually, for those who haven't been to the book depository, like they let you up on the floor and you can see the spot where he was and where he took the shot, which, oh, by the way, I'm willing to bet. I'd bet a C note that Mark Somerville could make that shot. A C note.
And by the way, since we're talking about it, such a surreal experience when you go to that spot in Dallas for the first time.
Yeah.
You know, after watching the Zapruder film a fucking 100 times over the years and all that, and then you actually go to that spot. First of all, it's like they preserved it so well to the way it looked back then. And then you're looking around, you're like, fuck, I've seen all of this before. This is fucking weird.
Yeah, it is very surreal. Like the whole going through it. I've been there 3 times now because I was stuck in Dallas for 2 weeks. But Yeah, you like walk through all the stuff. You see the FBI mock-up, like before we had CGI and all the video and shit. Like the FBI did a mock-up of the entire square.
Yeah.
So it had the cars, it had like the circles and arrows and shit pointing to stuff. Really, really interesting. But how'd I get?
So yeah, Bob Iger is giving EA a thumbs up.
Wow. Yeah, I think all right.
You said you were breaking down the interview like the Zapruder film.
I think EA is doomed like Jackie's dress.
Wow.
Is that inappropriate?
Maybe.
Is it too soon?
No, but I like it. So, all right. So that's the only other really news note that I had for Star Wars this week because fucking nothing's happening.
It is.
Do something.
Do something.
Yeah. So why don't we just hop right into our weeks, which we've already kind of been talking about that a little bit. For me, the note I wrote in here was everybody's working for the weekend because
you should have sang that. That was your opportunity to sing it.
Yeah. It's too late. So yeah, I'm working all weekend, worked all week this week. Not going to have another day off for several days. So I haven't really had much time to do anything, but I did get this fucking book done this week. So right. I think,
hence it being the topic this week.
I think there should be some sort of celebration for me. I think people should sing songs.
Maybe. Cue the celebration music. Oh,
that's not her.
Yeah, that was your opportunity and it's gone.
Damn it. God, I suck so bad. But yeah, haven't had much time to do anything beyond finishing the book and there you go.
I'm going to, yes, you are now the finisher of books.
Mr. Roscom, finisher of books. I like it. So the only other thing I was able to get done Star Wars related this week was my Jedi Knight in the Old Republic. Nubian has finished the Jedi Knight quest line and reached the level cap.
So you say like the only thing you've got done. Like I can't fathom in my life right now having 15 minutes to even wait for a fucking computer to boot up to be able to play the game, let alone actually play it to the point where it's advancing a character. It's mind-blowing.
Well, to be fair, he's a character that I created like 6-7 years ago. So, it's been a work in progress.
Fair enough, but you were able to spend time on it, and I'm envious of that.
Yeah, it's like I said, I did about 45 free minutes an evening, give or take, to fuck around. And this last week and a half, I had to split it between Rule of Two and Old Republic. But Nubian is now a Jedi Knight. So get this. Okay, so I mentioned last week that Nubian has been leaning towards the dark side. In fact, not just leaning towards, he's full on dark side. I've made like all dark side choices with him. He's a fucking bastard. And you could do some really fucked up things in the Old Republic too, by the way.
In my limited experience, I have indeed done fucked up things.
Yeah. So like if you choose like the dark side for a lot of your choices, yeah, you can be a real dick. So I finish up. I save the Republic. I fucking stop the Sith Emperor.
It's flat.
So that's why you like go half and half with a non-flat one. But
why ruin a perfectly good one? I'll just suffer through this.
All right. So anyway, he stops the Sith Emperor from destroying the galaxy. Hooray! Big celebration. Fucking gets a medal. Satele Shan, who's the fucking the head of the Jedi Council in this, she's like, oh, thank you for saving us and all that. But I know that you've been channeling the power of the dark side, so we do not grant you the rank of master. So I'm like, oh fuck, come on.
So you had to know that was gonna fucking happen.
Yeah, fuck. I was kind of hoping she wouldn't notice like all my dark side tendencies. So I was like,
right.
God damn it. Fuck
obviously,
you, bitch.
That was the first time. That way, Sidious knew that he had to blind the Jedi Council of all the
that's true.
The dark side shit.
So maybe it was because of Nubian that Sidious eventually got word that hey, you got to shield yourself.
Again, space-time travel being what it is.
Yeah.
So Jason could actually establish that character was going to, in fact, be the Dark Jedi.
Yes.
And then henceforth inherit to stopping the world. I ran out. I ran out of energy on that one.
I like the way you think. So yeah, that fucking bitch Satele, she wouldn't make me a master. So now I'm all pissed off.
So go kill her.
Well, you can't.
Oh,
it's not that open to be able to do shit like that. So
wow.
That's the only note I had in here, but I added one thing later on. The Super Bowl. This is the first episode we've recorded since the Super Bowl. And the note I have is, what the fuck was that? Like, are you kidding me? Was that a real fucking game? I don't even know what the hell to say about that.
Listen, if you are a Pats fan, I'm sure you are fucking ecstatic. And look, they didn't beat the Eagles in the fucking Super Bowl, so I don't really give a shit.
Shit, the way they were playing last week, the Eagles could have fucking destroyed both of those fucking teams.
Yeah.
The current Eagles roster would have destroyed both of those fucking teams this week.
Well, and if you talk to any Saints fan, the Saints fan make the same argument.
Oh yeah, well, those bastards are fucking bitter as shit this week.
They should have another fucking parade protesting again.
Yeah.
But you go down to like places like New Orleans and they have a fucking parade every day for some bullshit. So whatever.
It's just an excuse to get shit faced.
Exactly. Regardless, it was a very forgettable Super Bowl for a non-Pats fan.
Yeah.
Like if you're a Tom Brady dick sucker, if you're a fucking Pats fucking ball licker, then you are all over it.
You are the ones who are the ball lickers. Sorry.
Wait, what?
That was my turn to throw you off.
It's fine. I'm trying to understand what Solsky's message means. So ring, 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 ring. It's for you, Dave.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Have you heard? Did you know that? Oh shit! Hold on. What was it? Did you hear 6 Rings last week? Solsky wants to know if you heard 6 Rings last week.
Oh, suck a bag of dicks.
Sorry, I botched that one.
It would have required me to count the number of rings that you put into the fucking thing. You know what? I don't fucking care. I started out this thing with saying how Patriots fans should be and Tom Brady fans would be happy. You know what? Fuck your happiness. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, I totally forgot Brady's from Michigan too.
Well, and he played at fucking the Michigan bullshit, whatever.
Yeah.
So you should be a Tom Brady fan too, you cocksucker. You're wearing Michigan colors.
I am, and it's not by accident.
I have honestly, enjoy your fucking 6 rings or whatever. Don't go into cowboy status here, Patriot fans, where all you could talk about is how many rings or whatever.
Yeah.
You're going to have a Hall of Fame fucking coach and a first ballot, best quarterback ever Hall of Famer in Brady, who what they're saying in the office or talking about it, like briefly, again, a forgettable Super Bowl. Like based on the game itself, very little entertainment, even with the fucking commercials.
Yeah,
the fact we're not talking about even the commercials or anything.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl didn't even break my radar for this episode. I'll be honest. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if it's because we're so far from it or would otherwise known as 6 days away from seeing it, but I just continue to touch the screen on my laptop thinking it's a touchscreen. Yeah, I don't even care. Whatever. Go do your thing. Enjoy. Have your parade again. It is a very remarkable thing that they have done.
Yeah.
And I pray to God that they don't find something that is like going to, at this point, I don't want any controversy. We don't need a fucking another cheating scandal or anything else from that, because honestly, I think with the way the officiating was this season, I think people will be up in arms with the NFL.
Oh,
you're going to see protests in New York and shit like that, because if something comes down, it's just going to ruin it. Yeah. So we'll put that season behind us. Brady's going to stick around till he can break Drew Brees' record, which that's a whole nother fucking thing. Yeah. Whatever. I don't give a shit. I really don't. There's a couple commercials that were and a couple that were meh. It was just not very entertaining.
Yep. All right. So, well, that's me in a nutshell. So, what about you and your week?
We worked the Super Bowl. We did. Well, you know what I did enjoy? I enjoyed the camaraderie that we were able to have at the Super Bowl. You know, at the house at the Super Bowl, watching my puppy get chased around by your puppy.
That was the best part of the whole night.
Oh my God,
just watching our dogs play together.
Yeah, running around in circles in his house, and then also watching his dog try and help my dog.
Yeah, it was.
Gross.
I knew it was going to happen.
Gross.
Probably should have warned you. But
whatever. She can take care of herself.
Yeah. The food was really good too.
The food was excellent. So for me, the phrase that Mr. Meeseek's existence is pain, that pretty much sums up my week. I've been overly task saturated, and up until very recently, haven't really done anything to correct it. So I'm trying to do better. Hence why I'm barely on social media at all, because I just haven't had time. Like I just really I haven't had time to fucking wipe my ass twice, let alone fucking really focus on anything. So
Nice.
it's been a tough week. However, one thing that I have a problem with is like when I feel bad or I don't feel well, I'll fucking be on Amazon and do like this buying to make myself feel better.
Yeah.
So I've been envious of the Infinity characters that you have.
Yeah.
They're fucking great. So for Christmas or randomly, it wasn't even for Christmas, but I got the pack that had Anakin and Ahsoka, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, I kind of want to have some of these that I can look at while I'm sitting at my desk.
Yeah.
So got on eBay and never didn't spend more than $5 on any of them.
Sure.
But now I have the Han Solo. That's the one with the blood stripe on the pants, right? I think it's the same one I have. I have the Chewbacca. I've got Squiggly Joe. Yeah, that's the one. And I got Boba Fett. I got the Boba Fett one.
He was an exclusive for a long time too.
That thing is awesome. I should have brought it with me.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it because
Yeah,
I
I
was
don't have
trying to
that
get out
one
of the
yet.
house. But Boba Fett's really, really cool looking. I have Twinkle Tits with the other Mando from Rebels.
Oh, Sabine.
Sabine, thank you. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so I have Sabine, which is cool. I took a picture of them before I came so I can name them out. But I'll fuck around my phone for other things that are not Star Wars related. But fuck it for this one.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it was just one of those things where I really, really enjoy these. Not even in a box, nothing. I just want to look at them because they're the detail is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
on them.
they're all fantastic.
The game was shit,
Yeah.
but the fucking characters are amazing. So yeah, I'm slowly but surely, I'll get all of them, pick them from eBay when I can get them for a few bucks.
Nice.
With a couple bucks shipping, just because I really enjoy looking at them.
Yeah, and they don't make them anymore either. So
No, like eBay, you can get them off Amazon, but you're going to pay a premium for it.
Yeah.
So I actually did do something Star Wars related and started a collection of the Infinity statues.
Nice. Now, does the wife know about this? Okay, so
Oh, and she hates it. Oh, she fucking hates it. I believe the conversation on the phone one day was if I wait. If I open something and it's one more of your fucking toys, that's about how that went.
Nice.
So,
all right, very good. So, you got anything else before we move into the main topic?
No, let's get to the main topic.
All right, because
this got to work tomorrow.
yeah, me. So this is a good one because, like we said, Darth Bane, Rule of Two, kind of spoiled it at the top of the show. Great fucking book. So far, I've read 2 of the 3 novels in this series, and I'm all in, man. This is some good shit. So, spoiler alert from here, because we're going to get into the infinite details of the Rule of Two. So, if you don't want to know what happens, turn off now.
Listen, the copyright for the original release of this was 2008. And this book I have in my hand was released in 2014. So you've had 11 years to fucking read this. And granted, we have been espousing the virtues of this book series for quite a while.
Yeah.
So maybe you haven't advanced this far, and I could appreciate that. However, read a fucking book.
Well, I still haven't read the 3rd one, so
read a fucking book.
Yeah,
I just knighted you the fucking completer of books.
Yeah.
I expected it to be complete.
All right. So the way I kind of felt we could break this down is, kind of talk about what happens throughout the course of the book. And it's really in 3 acts. So we can just break it down by acts, kind of talk about what happens, discuss some of the characters, and go from there. I didn't really have a plan per se as to how we were going to do this. Plus, I don't remember when the last time was that you read this. So
it's been a while.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a 2014 book based on the creases and everything else. I'm going to say, let me look the paper. Yeah, I have no fucking clue.
Okay.
So at least I like the paper.
Yeah. So hopefully some of this comes back to you. And the book starts off. So quick recap of the first Darth Bane book, if you've forgotten. Bane works his way up through the ranks of the Sith, decides, you know what, the way they've been doing things for a couple hundred years now is fucked. We need to go back to the way it used to be with the Rule of Two, one person with all the power, the apprentice to crave it, and this is the way that our religion is going to survive. So he concocts a plan to essentially wipe out every single Sith and wipe out hundreds of
and
Jedi.
a lot of Jedi too.
Yeah, and a lot of Jedi in the process. And that was
including some Hollywood one with this fucking flowing blonde hair.
No, that was Farfalla. He survived.
Oh, that's right. He was on the ship in orbit. That's right.
He's in.
He should have died. Fuck that guy.
Well, we'll talk about him when we get into Rule of Two.
That's true.
But yeah, so at the end of the first Darth Bane book, he convinces the Sith to set off this thought bomb. All of the Sith get annihilated. A good portion of the Jedi do. Bane survives, and at the very end, he finds Zana, who at the time was calling herself Rain as like her nickname. She was 10 years old at the time, 8 or 10 years old. She had just fucking cracked the necks of 2 Republic guys who killed her friend. And Bane's like, "You're my new apprentice. Let's go." And that's kind of where book 1 ended. And book 2 picks up right at the heels of that.
Yeah.
It's Bane and Zana still on Ruusan, which is the name of the planet where they had this big final showdown between the Sith and the Jedi, which is a planet in the Old Republic video game, by the way. So a lot of Old Republic references in here. Now they're back on Ruusan and they're kind of cleaning up a little bit. They go back down to the thought bomb just to make sure everything's cool in the gang and everybody's gone. And while they're down there, they bump into this other guy, Daravit, who's another young kid about Zana's age. Come to find out, he's Zana's cousin. Because they both got there at the same time with the Jedi, because the Jedi were like fucked when they were in their war with the Sith, because they're just like, we need more Force sensitive people. Fuck, there's some 10-year-old kids there. Grab them. We'll train them to be Jedi. That's how desperate they were at this point in the war. So he was her cousin. They got split up at some point, and he survived the thought bomb. She survived, and then when they were down there,
wasn't he in like the catacombs or something? Like, he got far enough into the mountain where it kind of protected him.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And or no, I think what the final revelation was just he wasn't strong enough in the Force for it to affect him as much as it affected like the other Force users. But yeah, he was in the catacombs, like at the thought bomb, when he fucking bumps into Zana and Bane. And this is in Rule of Two. Bane wants to just fucking kill him and be done with it. Zana cuts his hand off, leaves him for dead, and they bounce. Obviously, we know we're going to see Daravit again later on.
Yeah, otherwise, why introduce him?
Right. And then we're also introduced to Jahoon, who is the apprentice of the General Hoth, who we talked about during the Darth Bane book, who was like the main general who was fighting off the Sith. He sacrificed himself for the thought bomb. And he becomes the apprentice of Farfalla, who is the guy that you talked about, who is the prissy Jedi, I guess. They talk about how he loves wearing like expensive clothes and his hair's all done up nice. And, you know, he sounds like a pretty boy, you know, and even like his lightsaber apparently is all like, you know, bejeweled. And
he's a he's a person.
Yeah.
So sidebarring.
Yeah.
Right. One of the things I've been doing recently, and I think I brought it up, is I'm listening to audiobooks, right? Non-Star Wars related, just something to, you know, cleanse the palate while I'm driving.
Sure.
So I was reading. I keep saying that. I keep saying I was reading the audiobook, which obviously you're not.
We know what you mean.
However, it is an input that goes into your, you know what? Never mind. I'm not going to have this argument. I had it at work. Where was I going with this? So listening to these books, like I'm listening to The Martian right now. I'm just about finished it.
Oh, nice.
Great.
No spoilers. I haven't.
Great audiobook. Yeah. I highly recommend it. The reading or the movie. Apparently the movie's real good. I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
This was recommended by a friend. And one thing I caught myself doing, and it was the same thing with Hitchhiker's Guide. And I've already read the Hitchhiker's Guide. I was just like kind of refreshing myself. Hence my
nice
getting Don't Panic on my iPhone, which might as well be the fucking Guide to the Galaxy.
It's a good motto for life.
Yeah, honestly, other than existence is pain. But I catch myself, I doing it where you see plot points teed up with something. You know, you see it in movies too, but it's you know, sometimes you pick it up, sometimes you don't. But like
foreshadowing, basically.
Yeah, thank you. There's a term for that, and it's called foreshadowing.
Yeah,
but I've noticed it more listening to the audio version of the book. And I'm curious to know what you guys who listen to Thrawn, if there was like, could you like, I'm listening to The Martian, and like everything's thrown out there. Like I'm throwing out the words before the guy even says them. Like just because. And The Martian is a good like kind of sciencey nerd book because they throw some stuff out there where you can go like, if you have any idea of like physics and some other things, just mechanically, like any mechanical engineer background, you'd be like, oh, okay, well this is what this would happen if he did this type of thing. So,
well, to answer your question, like with the Thrawn books, I can think of instances where I definitely picked up on the foreshadowing, like, oh yeah, this is going to come back later. And then there were times where it was like, oh, I didn't see that one coming, but I probably should have, you know?
Yeah, it just makes me wonder. I never really paid attention to it until I started listening to books. And I feel like it's more prevalent from listening to somebody say the words as opposed to me internally saying it in my head.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting.
Yeah, and I will say Drew Karpyshyn, the guy who wrote the Bane books, he telegraphs a lot of the stuff that he does. Not to say that it's bad, but like with Derevit, like it was very obvious. We were going to see him again later on. He was going to come across Zana again. It was, again, very, very obvious that this was going to happen. So, anyway, so Bane decides, all right, I'm going to go do some more research, trying to find some more Sith power. And he tells Zana, you got to find your way to this fucking planet that I'm going to. But you got to find out how to get there on your own. I got my speeder. I'm going to bounce.
Right.
I'll meet you over there. And she's like, what the fuck?
Peace out, bitch.
Yeah. Like 10-year-old little girl, basically. Yep. He's like, yeah, you're on your own.
Prove yourself. And the ultimate kind of prove yourself. If you fucking show up at this place, then I'm going to know that you have the fucking, you have the gumption, to go out there and do things
and be my apprentice, which is like, and he does that with her a lot throughout the course of at least this book and probably in later.
I think a lot of it too, as we progress through the entire Bane series, like especially with the Zana and Bane interaction, it's like, I really want you to fucking be so pissed off at me that you want to kill me constantly.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to be a real dick all the fucking time. Yeah. And it's going to force you to fucking make a decision. Like I can kill this fucker now, or I can wait and learn all the shit that I need to learn, which ultimately is what you get to, spoiler, at the end of the book is like I'm motherfucker, I'm keeping you alive until I learn all your shit, then I'm going to fucking take you out.
Yeah. And that's a theme throughout this whole book. But Bane goes off to the tomb of Frieden Nad, which is a weird name, but he is a character from the original Tales of the Jedi comic book.
Yeah, I saw that in the notes, and I picked up Tales of the Jedi, but I wasn't into it like that.
Well, yeah, I read those back in the fucking early 90s. I loved those comics. So when I saw him mention that name, I'm like, that's the guy from fucking Tales of the Jedi. And I love how they, integrated all of this old Republic era, which really spans like thousands of years, how they still meld it all together really well. And when he gets there, a lot of shit goes down. Long story short, he gets fucking infested by this like crustacean thing called an Orbalisk.
Yeah,
and
what did you think of when you first started thinking about the Orbalisk?
I don't know.
I had two things I thought of. Okay. One was the carapask, or that the what? Why do I remember what the fucking shell of the alien was, the armor of the alien, but not remember the alien's fucking name?
From Star Wars?
God damn it, Dave. Oh, I hate my brain. It's the worst ever. The fucking books, the people that came in and they killed everybody and turned them into insects.
Oh, the fucking the Vong.
The Vong, Yuzon Vong. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah,
so that's what it reminded me of, because of the way it was like a living.
Yeah,
it was a living
creature that like
force sensitive fucking thing that like it basically increased your power in the force. However, it took from you. It took like the force energy from you to stay alive.
Yeah. Plus, there was no way to remove it allegedly, and the thing fucking spreads. So he eventually gets this holocron of Frieden Nad, but at the same time, he gets infested with these fucking Orbalisks. And the holocron says, yeah, if you got one of these on you, it's pretty much going to grow. You can't get rid of it. Here's a way to keep it from growing over your face. And here's how you can use the Force to channel its power to like make yourself like super fucking strong in the meantime.
But it totally wastes you at the end of it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I have going on. Maybe I have a bunch of Orbalists on me.
That could be some sort of symbiote. But
that's why my biceps are bigger than yours.
Yeah, and while he's doing that, we find out that asshole, that Zana's a fucking cold-blooded killer because she's like, well, I gotta fucking get to this planet. So she finds this shuttle from the Republic. These guys that are like hauling Jedi back and forth to Ruusan and looking for, you know, stragglers and whatnot. And it's like a fucking father, 2 of his kids, their friend who's like a female pilot. And she goes up onto the speeder, finds out, oh, this thing's got an autopilot that'll just take me right to where I want to go. Fucking boom, kills them all in cold blood.
Yep.
10-year-old girl just fucking murders all 4 of these people on this fucking shuttle.
Yeah, she's seen enough in life where they don't fuck this shit. I'm out.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
And she's determined at this point. She is fucking all in on the dark side. She doesn't give a fuck who she has to kill, what she has to do. And that becomes a theme later on as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she's fucking all in on the dark side. She gets the shuttle and she fucking goes off to meet Bane. Now, this is an interesting part because Farfalla and Jahoon, they decide
these fucking names, man.
Yeah.
Like it's bad enough when you're reading it and you're hearing it to yourself in your head. And then, you know, when you have to say this shit out loud, it's just like, oh, God damn it, dude.
Yeah. So they have to go off to the Republic to report what happened on Ruusan. And they go to see Chancellor Valorum.
Right.
I'm reading that. I'm like,
no relation.
Like,
or well, yeah.
Yes, it is a relation.
It is a relation.
Yeah. So after reading that, I pause the book. I go on to fucking Wikipedia. I'm like, okay, what's with the fucking Chancellor Valorum again, 1,000 years before the one in episode 1? Yeah, apparently it's like a political family. That
makes sense.
And, you know, I made reference to like, oh, they're kind of like the Bush family, you know, where they're always like ingrained in politics and everything. And I was going to say like the Bush and the Clintons, but let's face it, there's only one good Clinton politician who actually got there on their own and didn't ride anybody's coattails or was an insufferable cunt. But sorry, what? So yeah, you know, you kind of like equate the Valorums to the Bushes, sort of like generationally, they keep like ending up in high political positions.
Yeah.
So that's
exactly what.
Yeah. And ultimately, this Chancellor Valorum comes up with the Ruusan Reformations, which is a way that they're going to build the Republic back up. They're going to demilitarize the Jedi portion of their military. They're not completely demilitarizing, but they're taking the Jedi out of it. They're like, you guys are now not part of the military. You're now under control of the Senate. And while this is happening, they also are going to all of these worlds that were under Sith control and starting to bring them into the Republic. And I mean, apparently it worked, but you know, it's a unique way to go about, because again, they were under the assumption that the Sith were dead, and that
Bronco Fett makes a good point. It's like more like the Kennedy family.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, exactly. So,
didn't you have a doctor's appointment or something?
Yeah, I thought you were getting an MRI.
Not that we don't want you to be here, but yeah. I'm like,
anyway,
if we're playing out loud in the doctor's office right now, like on speaker or something,
yeah,
or just you got it really turned up in your headphones. Fuckity fuck.
So, yeah, but that's kind of where Act 1 ends. Is Valorum decides, all right, we're gonna do these reformations. Zana and Bane, I keep wanting to say Thrawn, like Zana and Thrawn. I don't know why, but Zana and Bane, you know, come back together. Bane's like, oh, fuck, you made it. All right, you're still my apprentice. Yep. And everybody kind of goes off on their own.
I'm going to treat you like shit some more.
Yeah,
really shit on you this time.
And then comes the part that I was not expecting, honestly, and that's a 10-year jump into the future. So, and that's kind of where Act 2 starts, where I was expecting that to happen maybe by like book 3. I wasn't expecting, you know, a third of the way through Rule of 2 for us to have this massive time jump.
Well, to be honest, I think it's appropriate that we don't necessarily need to see the initiation. Zana. Like I actually preferred it this way, because then there's a lot of, it means that we're going to get to more action as opposed to fucking wasting the time and just kind of bullshit.
Oh, sure. It worked. It's just I was not expecting it at that point when I was reading it the first time. So, and it hops 10 years later right to Zana, who's using an alias, and she's fucking slept her way into this fucking rebel cell on some fucking Republic planet, which I can't remember the name of it right now.
Shit, I can't remember it either.
Yeah, and I wrote this note: Zana's now a hot sex machine who causes political uprisings. Yes. Because I mean, the way he describes her, like that she grew up, it's 10 years later, so she's like 20 years old now. Apparently she's fucking beautiful. She got the long blonde hair.
Right.
Yeah.
She went to the Twi'lek school of fucking dance and prostitution.
Yeah, and apparently she like has to use the dark side to kind of make her face look a little bit uglier so people don't notice her as much, because as the only two Sith left in the galaxy,
right,
they don't want to draw attention to themselves. So she actually has to make herself look not as attractive when she's out in public so that people just don't like hone in on her. So that's allegedly how beautiful she is at this point.
Ooh la la.
Yeah. But yeah, she's shacked up with this fucking guy who's part of a rebel cell. Long story short, she's convincing these guys to kidnap the now former Chancellor Valorum, who's retired. And they're basically just this way to cause a little bit of political uproar, which really has no bearing on Bane's overall plans beyond just like keeping the Jedi off of the Sith trail and keeping the Republic kind of in a little bit of chaos.
Right.
Because this is at this point now, we're led to believe that Bane has all these spies and informants all over the fucking galaxy,
right,
and he's using them all to gather information while also creating chaos, essentially to keep the Jedi off of the Sith trail.
And I believe it. I believe that he's probably doing that just based on the intel he does get.
Yeah, and we're getting hints throughout this now that this is the groundwork for, and I'm sure this is going to be covered more in the third book, but for Palpatine's eventual rise to power. Like that's clearly what they're building towards with this. And later on in Rule of Two, he really starts talking about it more, how he's got plans that are set in motion that could take hundreds of years to come to fruition.
Right.
But this is how the Sith are eventually going to take over the galaxy again. And this little thing that Zahn is doing is just a small piece of that. And again, she's shacking up with this dude. She actually apparently had feelings for, by the way. And he was a Twi'lek dude.
Caught feelings.
Yep.
Fuck Twi'lek dudes.
Yeah.
The only thing they're good for is making more Twi'lek females.
The interesting thing about
ugly-ass bitches.
The interesting thing about this little band of rebels that she was kind of teaming with was the fact that one of them was a Chiss, a female Chiss that they mentioned. Mm-hmm. So we know in current canon that the Chiss are a lot more elusive in the galaxy. They're not as well known. A lot of people don't even think that they're real or that they exist.
But this is also, years and years before.
Well, yeah, a millennia before, 1,000 years before A New Hope. So, maybe the Chiss kind of made themselves scarce after this and all that. But it was, there was a Chiss as part of this little band of wannabe rebels. So, and then we have also got Jahoon, who is still around. He's now a full Jedi Knight. He's the protector of former Chancellor Valorum, and
otherwise known as a bitch.
Yep. And Farfalla, which God sounds so weird, is a pretty high-ranking member of the Jedi Council.
It's probably appropriate based on his name, just the sounding of his name. It's just anyway. Never mind.
Yeah.
Disregard.
What? And a whole lot goes on. Zana goes back to Bane eventually, and the fucking Orbalisks have completely taken over his body at this point. He's got a complete protective shell around him with the exception of like his face and his fucking hands. So, and they feed him force power that like drains his physical body and all this stuff. It's crazy. It's really interesting the way they wrote that though. And Zana, throughout her travels, finds another person who's force sensitive, who has a bunch of Sith artifacts, and presents him to Bane. But basically, this guy, she again convinces this guy to fucking attack Bane with all of his troops and stuff, and Bane just fucking annihilates all of them,
right,
with his like protective shell and everything else. Like,
however, even with the protective shell and all that good shit, he's fucking wiped out.
Yes, by the end of the battle, he's like physically drained. But he was ready to fucking kill Zana because he thought, she was actually trying to kill him. And she's like, no, I just wanted to see how you do. Plus, this guy has all these Sith artifacts that I figured you'd be interested in, which is more like holocrons and shit like that. And besides that, that's really the end of Act 2. A lot goes on, which we won't get into the details of, but it's just, kind of reintroducing us to these characters 10 years later. And it's starting to bring everyone back together, which Act 3 does that because Jahoon goes back to Ruusan because he wants to build a monument to the fucking fallen Jedi, to like General Hoth and all those people that died on Ruusan as part of the thought bomb.
Total fucking ass.
Yeah. And then we're reintroduced to Daravit, Zana's cousin, who's been on fucking Ruusan for 10 years with a stump for an arm. He's kind of learned how to be a healer.
He should have fucking, honestly, he should have went to the tune-up shop and got himself a fucking Luke Skywalker arm. I mean, obviously that shit's out there, right?
Yeah. So Jehoon comes across him through a series of events and decides, and Daravit tells him about Zana and Bane and how he saw them after the thought bomb. And now Jehoon's like, fuck, I knew the Sith were still alive. So takes him back to Coruscant. He's like, you're going to talk to the Jedi Council. At the same time, fucking Bane sends Zana to Coruscant. You're going to disguise yourself as a Jedi, go through the Jedi archives, help me figure out how to get these fucking obelisks off my body, because I think he came up with an excuse. Oh no, Zana kind of manipulated him to decide that he needed to get rid of those, because she's like, fuck, I'm not gonna be able to kill this guy.
Yeah, if he has the shit on him.
Yeah. So she's like, I gotta like convince him that it's like not in his best interest to have them anymore. So through that, she manipulates him to trying to figure out a way to get them off of him. So obviously,
yeah, it's kind of like one of those things. Well, if you're not smart enough and you have to rely on these things to like be a powerful Sith, then maybe you're not as powerful as I thought you were.
Yeah,
like that kind of shit. And Bane's just like, I'm powerful. I don't need this shit. You know what? Go to Coruscant and fucking find out how to get this shit off me, and I'll tell you how fucking powerful I am.
Yep. And of course, you can see this telegraphed a mile away. Fucking Zana going to Coruscant. Daravit going to Coruscant. Obviously they meet. They're both in the fucking Jedi archives looking through the sacred texts. and fucking Daravit sees her. He's like, fucking Rain? And she turns around. She's like, fuck. And ultimately she's like, well, I can't kill him right here because we're in the middle of the goddamn Jedi archives. So she grabs him, beats feet out of there, and
sorry, I'm on a secret mission in charted space.
Yeah,
let's go.
Yeah. So, yeah, she basically takes him because he's like, "Oh fuck, I sold you out to the Jedi already," and she's like, "You motherfucker!" So she grabs him and she takes him off world to keep him from, testifying to the Senate or whatever. And
like that would have really been anything. We're gonna write you a really stern letter.
Yeah, but she finds the coordinates to Tython, which is where fucking Bane's going, because he's looking for more Sith relics, because that's like his whole course now is just like he's
learn everything possible about the Sith.
Yeah.
And by the way, make a holocron.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because that's been his big thing too. He's like been trying to make a fucking holocron.
Gotta make a fucking holocron.
This whole book, he keeps failing. So finally this broad on Tython was supposedly the master of how to make holocron. So he's like, I'm gonna find out what she knows, and
I'm gonna torture her until she fucking tells me how to do this.
Yep. And so Zana decides, all right, I'm gonna take my cousin, we're gonna go meet Bane in fucking Tython, which by the way is another planet from the Old Republic. It's the planet that you start on as a Jedi Knight, because it was one of the first Jedi temples in Legends material.
Fun facts from the Old Republic.
Yes, very much fun. They get there, the Jedi follow them, and the whole time through this whole book, we're getting flashes of Jehoon and Farfalla having interactions, talking, debating things.
For a second, I was like, Jehoon having an erection. Like, wait, what?
No,
I don't remember reading that. I think you had a different book.
It could be, but we get deep into these characters, and like especially Farfalla.
Again, I'm like, you're getting deep with erections. I'm like, oh my god, why is my brain going here?
Well, so I say that because we learned a lot about them, only to when they get to Tython and they fucking hunt down Bane and Zana, which, by the way, just the description of this battle that they have, these fucking 4 Jedi taking on Bane and Zana, sounds badass. It's like, as I'm reading this, I'm like, this would be fucking phenomenal on screen.
We probably talked about it when we got into the first Bane book, but like, god damn, this would be a good fucking movie. Not a trilogy. Again, we're probably repeating ourselves, but fuck it.
Yeah.
It's just, it would be a great movie.
Yeah.
Like, Star Wars, Darth Bane, or some shit like that, you know, you know, whatever, and just be so fucking dark and just like the killings and them.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh my god, you could have
so much death in this.
You can make a spectacular Star Wars movie out of this.
Yeah. And
anyway,
it would have to be like an R-rated Star Wars movie, though.
Oh, fuck yeah! Just from the violence.
Yeah,
it'd have to be uber violent.
Yeah, and like the last scene in the book when like somebody gets fucking hacked to pieces and their parts are strung all over this fucking camp. You're like, oh,
yes,
wow, okay,
yeah. There's a level of violence in this that are like, personally, I think it's great.
Oh yeah, I love it.
So here's the real question: so if we make a Bane movie. With Zana being Zana, right? Zana, hey, or Rain or whatever. Who do you cast
for her?
Yeah.
God, who are the young hotties in Hollywood right now? Because I mean,
I don't fucking know.
Like even your people, like your Scarlett Johanssons, your fucking, but they're too old, is what I'm saying. Like Scarlett's too old. Fucking even what's her nuts? The Hunger Games chick, Jennifer Lawrence. She's too old for something like that. So it would have to be like,
but I think she has like Jennifer Lawrence would have the kind of the background for that.
Yeah,
you know, because she's Hunger Games, like kind of like weapons training and shit like that, right? And then she's played the Blue Broad and fucking X-Men. What the fuck is her name?
Like the chameleon chick. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. She's played that character, but I'm just curious. Like,
well, I say we table this discussion until we talk about the third book, and by the time we get to the third book, I'll have a cast for you.
Very good. Yeah. Let's do that. We'll get our cast together, and then we'll do it live.
Yes. So we will cast the Darth Bane movie by the time we do the final book. What's the name of the final book, by the way?
The Search for More Money. Hang on. By the by, I wanted to bring this up in the beginning, and we've talked about it many, many times, but how fucking good was getting into the book and seeing the fucking timeline?
Yeah.
You know, like having like for all you people that have read Legends material, or otherwise known as the expanded universe, it just seeing the timeline, there was something so satisfying about it. And being able to go like kind of start the book and look, and it's like, okay, it gave you a good sight picture as to what time frame you're in.
Well, and even better was when they were coming with galaxy maps too. They'd have the fucking galaxy maps and all the planets labeled.
We just did that a couple episodes ago. We showed a galaxy map out of one of the sacred texts.
A sacred text. So anyway,
what was I looking for?
The timeline.
No, what the name of the third book is.
Oh, yeah. Squirrel.
Yeah, fuck, dude. You have no idea. Dynasty of Evil.
Okay, cool.
Which is not that book.
Yep.
So, I have that, and it's no.
So by the time we get to Dynasty of Evil,
right,
we will have this movie cast with proper actors for all of these parts. But yeah, this lightsaber battle that they had with the fucking 4 Jedi against those two was just fucking badass the way they described it.
I like how he wrote it, honestly. Yeah. I like how he wrote the battle. It was really descriptive. I'm boycotting saying so well done. I'm boycotting it.
Yeah.
I think we say that too much.
Okay.
So I'm boycotting so well done, even though it was so well done. But we got to say it some other way.
Okay.
So
I didn't realize.
So fucking well done.
Yeah.
That's a little too aggressive. Too aggressive. Maybe something else.
But the main point I was driving at was the characters of Farfalla and Jahoon. They were just like unceremoniously killed right then and there. Not even from their own points of view. It was all from the point of view of Bane as he's like watching these battles go on around him. And then it switches to Zana and they're just killed. And that's it. Those characters are done. Characters that we got some intimate details of.
Yep.
And we got to see some personal interactions. They're just fucking gone.
Don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. This isn't the Jahoon book. This is the Darth Bane book.
Right.
So
and he's going to kill some motherfuckers.
Yeah. And he did a lot. So however, there was one part where there was this Jedi that was there that was doing like the battle meditations and shit, which we've gotten into a lot of that in some, like a lot of video games and some other expanded universe stuff, where he's not actively fighting, but he's meditating while the other Jedis around him are fighting, and he's making them stronger, kind of like a bard, you know?
Right. Well, this comes into play in later books, like in the the newest book series that was basically the final one before they terminated the and created the Legends material.
Yeah.
Star Wars. What's that? The Omen one right there.
Jedi?
Fate of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Where they do this, they have this like it's a battle thing where they go into and they can make each other stronger in battle. They just sit there and meditate and like improve the performance of the pilots and shit like that.
Okay.
So it's a thing across like a way to use the Force that's never mentioned in canon at all, which would be fucking really good. Really good as we incorporate things from Legends material.
Yep. So yeah, but this guy was fucking, he was battle meditating. He's like one of the last people to get killed. But as Bane is killing him, something happens and he redirects some fucking force lightning like back at Bane, and it goes inside of the fucking Orbalisk shells and like shocks him from the inside and kills a lot of the, or most of the Orbalisk shells. And that fucking takes Bane down, not dead, but when the Orbalisks die, they inject poison into their fucking, you know, the host, and he is like completely unconscious and all that. So now Zana and fucking Daravit have to grab him and go find a way to get him healed. And this is the point that you were talking about, where Zana could have fucking killed Bane. She could have just been like,
the obelisks are off.
Yeah, just fucking taking their lightsaber and shoved it right into him. But she didn't do that.
Why?
A lot of innuendo tonight.
God damn.
Yeah. So instead of taking her hot lightsaber and sticking it into one of his, never mind. She decides, no, I haven't.
What?
So she decides, no, I haven't learned everything I need to from him yet. So I'm not going to kill him. I'm going to find a way to heal him. She goes back to Ambria, which is the planet that they were on.
Ambrosia, yeah.
Yeah, and goes back to that Caleb guy who healed Bane in the first Bane book from some shit that he had.
Well, yeah, because then you have to crawl his ass to him. And
and like threaten to kill his daughter.
Yeah,
and
it's all that shit.
Like if he didn't heal him. So she goes back and she's like, fucking heal him again. And he's like, no. And my daughter's not even here. So you can't fucking torture me. Can't fucking threaten my daughter's life. I'm not going to heal him. So she's like, well, I'm probably just going to kill you anyway. And he's like, all right, whatever. So her cousin, Daravit, in order to try to actually help her heal Bane and all that, strikes up a deal where it's like, all right, you can heal him to full if we destroy our vehicle to get out of here and call the Republic at the same time and be like, come get us. Bane's here. Guy that murdered all those Jedi a couple days ago. And that's the deal that they strike for Caleb to eventually agree to heal Bane.
Fucking idiot.
Yeah. So when the Jedi fucking get there, that Caleb guy's hacked to pieces. He's the guy who's like fucking head is over here, his fucking limbs are over here. And then what happens is Zana and Bane hide in like a little fucking cellar in his thing. She convinces, or she like does her little like mind crazy fucking effect, which is in play the whole book.
Yeah.
But she makes fucking her cousin go nuts and attack the fucking Jedi when they get there. And they're like, oh, who's this fucker? Chop him down in like 2 swipes. And they're like, we got the Sith. All right, case closed, Miller time, you know. So not realizing that the actual Sith were still hiding in the fucking house. So, and you know, it was open and shut case, Johnson. You know, I saw this before when I was a rookie. This guy broke into the house and hung up pictures of his family everywhere.
All right, let's sprinkle some crack on him and get out of here.
And that was where this book ended. So Bane's alive, Orbalisks are gone, but he survives. Zana survives, doesn't kill Bane when she has multiple chances to do so because she has more to learn from him.
Yeah, and she says it to him, like, he's like when he regains consciousness.
Yeah. So she's like, I could have fucking killed you, but no, I still want to learn some more before we finish this.
Right.
And you know, honestly, Bane couldn't have been prouder. He's like,
right.
yes,
like, yeah, all right,
my fucking apprentice. That's right.
That's right.
And
as long as you know what, I'm going to. I was about to say something that would have been a spoiler for the third book.
Don't spoiler book 3. I don't know. Words.
I won't spoil book 3.
Yes. So, and that's really it. It was obviously a middle book. We don't really get any resolution to much of the Bane story.
Right.
But I mean, obviously it moves the story forward. It was a great story, even though it didn't really go anywhere in the long run. I thought it was phenomenal.
So much killings. Like I think the stuff on Coruscant and the back and forth was fucking really good.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything besides well done.
And I love Drew Karpyshyn's writing style. I think he's a phenomenal writer. I think him and Timothy Zahn should be the only people allowed to write Star Wars books from here on out, because
there was a couple of good ones from the Fate of the Jedi series.
Yeah, what's her name? Christy Golden's really good, though. Didn't she write the fucking Phasma book? Which actually, the Phasma book wasn't bad. It was what they did to Phasma afterwards that fucking...
Yeah, it was the expectation of what Phasma could be, based on what was described in the book, and then she's alive. Yeah. She's alive. I've got money on it.
Nope.
Whatever.
So
there's a lot of money here. It's got to be another board bet.
Oh, there's at least 3 going, but I don't remember what.
Can somebody out there tell us what the board bets are?
Yeah,
we know Phasma's one.
Yes, and that's the 5, I think.
For show.
Yeah, Phasma's the 5er.
Okay.
So I don't know what the other singles are.
Oh, maybe that's...
And I think we're on some double or nothings too, which again, I don't...
excuse me. Oh, that was... what the fuck was that? No.
So we're just going to keep this money on the mixer. Fuck
it.
So ultimately, though, fantastic book. Love Drew Karpyshyn's writing style. And he has written more Star Wars related books after the Bane series. He wrote the Revan book. He wrote a couple other books from the Old Republic era. So I am fully intending to read everything else that he's done. And he's also done some other franchises. Like he's done some Mass Effect books, some other fantasy style books. So he's a pretty prominent writer. And we talked about it when we talked about the first Bane book. He started off as an employee at BioWare, making video games and being a writer for video games. And that eventually got him into being a novelist, which a great story. I'd love to fucking talk to this guy, honestly. Like,
yeah, I think we said something about the first book about trying to contact him via Twitter or something.
Yeah, he's on Twitter, but he's not on Instagram. So that kind of limits my ability to contact the guy. So we'll see.
I wonder if we actually reached out to him.
Yeah.
Was that
he's liked when we posted the podcast for the first Bane book, I tagged him in it and he liked the post. So
yeah, that's why I remember it.
Yeah, he pays attention to stuff like that. So anyway, we may have to reach out. And for anybody that's going to Celebration, if he's there, fucking say something.
Hell yeah, say something.
Do something. Anything else on Darth Bane Rule of 2 before we close this out?
No, I think you did a great comprehensive job of explaining it, and I rode your coattails.
Yes. But it was an easy one for you since, you'd already read this a couple years ago. But I'm sure it was good to hear it refreshed and finally talk about it, because back when you read it back in the day, I'm sure you didn't have anybody to talk to about it. So.
No, not really. I was in my own little Star Wars world, thinking about it. I'll look it up later when I want a crapper.
And I'd like to do the 3rd book sooner rather than later. I don't want to have another year-long gap.
Hey man, it's all based on your pacing. So.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I fully admit it takes me a while to read books. It took me a good 2.5 weeks to read Rule of 2. I'm sorry. I know I've been able to push through some books in like a couple of days, be it Phasma or the Thrawn books. Normally, though, my normal read speed is about what we had.
Well, because you have characters to, plus up.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Nubian had to become a Jedi Knight, though he's not a master. Fucking that horse, Satil Shan.
The name like Satil.
Yeah. But it's I would like to do the 3rd book, within the next few months for sure.
I don't know why I'm doing this now. I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah. You're just bored of me talking, so you're like,
no,
I'll just put this stuff away.
I gotta do something with my hands.
Yeah. And as far as next week goes, no idea. Don't know what we're gonna fucking do. Haven't thought about it. I would imagine things like Clone Wars is off the table only because you probably don't have time to watch. So we're gonna have to do something that's intriguing yet not time consuming.
We'll do it live.
Yeah, as we tend to do.
Yes, we will indeed do it live for the next taping, which we probably shouldn't have as big a gap as we had with this one. We try and get back on a normal schedule.
Oh yeah, and it was just because necessity.
Yeah, it was my fault. It's fine.
It's Dave's fault.
It was definitely Dave's fault.
Yep. So we'll figure out when we're gonna record next. It won't be next Saturday, I would imagine.
No, I mean Monday might be the best.
Okay. Well, you tell me, because you're the one who's always busy. though that would interfere with my gym time.
You need it.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at those biceps.
You all right over there?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Do I need to flex on you right now? Is that what needs to happen?
Maybe.
Yeah, Monday. Let's do it Monday.
All right.
Let's do a live Monday.
So fucking 2 days from now, we have to have a topic to talk about for the fucking show.
Yeah, if all else fails, you can always do an AMA. That is correct, Donald Salsky.
Yeah, we
could indeed do that. So no, I'm good. Just a reminder out there for our, whoever's watching us on YouTube, which would have a pretty good idea. The people in the chat. There's, don't be afraid to subscribe. Don't be afraid to tell your friends to subscribe.
Yes.
In fact, order them to. Tell them you will fucking do this, or I'm going to put a lightsaber in your fucking hole.
Yes.
That's what you say that. They push subscribe, and then call us if you have an issue with the police.
Yeah. And not only on YouTube, but also on iTunes or wherever you get podcasts, because we need those download numbers too.
Yes. And look for us in other places too. Like if you have a place that you listen to podcasts and maybe we're not on, let us know and we'll try and do that. I think one of the things we have to do is what?
I was going to say sidebar.
Right.
Bronco Fett is friends with my son on the Xbox. I wonder if he might have confused him with me, because my son Ben is like, "Who's Tom Jensen?" I'm like, "That's the guy who listens to the podcast." He's like, "Oh yeah, he's my friend on Xbox." And we've been talking. I've been looking at his games and his achievements. I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. According to the Instagram, Scott Rasmussen on the job. Scott Rasmussen tells us, according to an Instagram post on December 27th, 2018, it's all for the plasma bet.
The plasma bet.
Why is saying plasma right now? Like not that right. Oh, it's because it's phasma. Okay.
Yes.
I'm like, I said plasma. It doesn't feel like the right word.
Yeah.
Am I reading it wrong? Oh, but yes. Thank you, Scott.
How did you find that?
I don't know. Because we asked them to look, and sure shit.
Well, thank you. Yes.
This must be the double or nothing part.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Cool.
Oh, maybe I won the bet and I said or something, and we'll put it back onto the Phasma bet. I don't know.
I guess. But we got $14 right now riding on whether or not Phasma is alive in the yet titled episode 9.
No images, no time frames, except for a generalized idea when the movie's going to come out, and some borderline aggravated fan base. So yeah, good job, Disney.
Yeah, thanks.
Right on par.
Thanks for that. So, all right, so we'll figure out a topic for next week. I say in quotes,
right?
Which is technically 48 hours from now. So fuck it.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out.
Yeah. 48 hours. Jason has all day at work that he's not doing anything. Right? You're not doing anything important.
Motherfucker. I've worked harder in the last year than I've worked like in my fucking previous 15 years before that. Well, I don't know if that's true. Different kind of work, I'll just say.
It is a different kind of work.
Yeah.
This doing like straight office work as opposed to getting relief and going and flying and shit. It does have like tomorrow or Monday when I telecommute, it's like, yeah, I need to not do the commute one day and just I can print papers out at the fucking office, and just do that.
It's draining. It's draining my will to live. I mean, some days it's great, and you know what? It's not bad work, right? I'm super fucking busy at work all the time now, but it makes the days go by really fucking fast. And it's not all bad work. Like a lot of it is work that's relevant to my job. That's actually really fun. So it's just surrounded by bullshit.
Yeah. Now you're like up to your fucking nose into bullshit with being behind. So I do not miss that shit at all. I do not miss the admin portion of being a fucking master sergeant. And oh god, it's so nice to sit there and just watch them suffer through it. Watch the kids suffer through it. And like, ha ha.
Yeah. I can't wait. 2 more years.
By
2 more years.
I think we talked about this before, but they're fucking, there's people that work in my office that I was legitimately in the military for 2 years before they were born. It's fucking insane. There are babies walking around in that fucking squadron. Babies. Crazy. I walk around, I'm like, how am I the oldest person here? This is fucking insane. I'm older than a commander. I'm older than the fucking DO. I'm like, I'm not even that old. What the fuck? But it's being around the military. If you're, over into your mid 40s, you're going to be the oldest guy walking around.
It's a young man's game, that's for sure.
Jesus Christ.
So
yeah, it was up, and it took my fucking youth and everything else.
Yeah. So, all right. If you guys have any suggestions to an easy topic we can do with minimal research 48 hours from now, let us know.
I have a recommendation. We'll save it for offline.
All right. Well, until then, thank you everybody for watching on YouTube. Thanks to everybody who's listening to the audio version. Tell your friends, subscribe to everything. And until the next time, may the force be with you.
May the force be with you. Okay, now what do I click?